Okay, well then we're live with the Gotta Go Godzilla podcast. I cannot remember what episode this is. I should put that. I put so many notes and I didn't put the episode number in.
Every goddamn hang on, I'll find
Uh,
out.
We're off to a good start.
I'll find out. You've so far
Okay.
there's not one you still have to upload, right? They're all uploaded.
They're all
Okay,
uploaded.
okay.
Alright,
This is okay. You see, this is why when I write out the
This
script
is
for-
episode 10.
Okay, 10. There we go. Perfect. A good solid even number to start back off the podcast. Not doing with me being very lazy, putting everything.
I like how we didn't have rails and we're already off of them.
Yeah, we're completely off the rail. So we'll start
Wait a minute, we
off.
had rails.
Yeah, apparently
Exactly,
so.
that was my point.
This is episode 10. It's me, Shadow Fox. We got all conventions in again for the next Gotta Go Godzilla podcast, where we're going through all the Showa era monsters, and I'll just let the monster roll speak for itself, as I deafen everyone listening to this. And
sorry,
all
did you say
convention, you
something?
say you thought you knew.
Sorry, did you say something?
Oh yeah. Well, not me. The monster of the week.
I know that sound, but like for the life of me, it does. Like
I
it's
will
not
give
coming
you
back.
a hint with some nickname. The cyborg monster, space monster, cybernet monster.
Oh, that narrows it down.
Okay,
that the one- that's
this
not
may
the one
narrow
with
it
the
down.
chainsaw for a
Cybernetic
stomach, is it?
space dinosaur.
It's not
Oh yeah,
Space
that
Godzilla.
really narrows it down.
All
Wait,
conventions
Mecha
close.
Godzilla?
Not just yet. You're about to find out though.
Okay, the one with the chainsaw. Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Is the one with the chainsaw for the belly.
Yeah, the one with the chainsaw for the belly. What's
His
the- I
name
don't
is
remember his name.
Gigan.
That's it.
Now, I've got to drop a huge bombshell on you guys. So, are you prepared? I hope you're sitting down. If you're not, if you're sitting down, stand up so you can sit back down.
I'm
Because
sitting on my head. Does that count?
That's perfect. This is the biggest bombshell. Godzilla get a little bit silly at this point.
What?
I know.
What are you talking
The
about?
story
When is
about-
Godzilla ever silly?
I know the story about the 50-meter tall radioactive dinosaur that survived an atomic bomb and now is coming back to always terrorize Japan. It get a little bit ridiculous at this point.
Blasphemy, sir. I can't believe such a thing.
Because
I mean, have you seen his drop kicks? Those things fit with physics so well.
Because now we have Gigan, and Gigan is a type of space dinosaur that was transformed into a cyborg by the M Space Hunter Nebula aliens. Do you guys remember who those are?
I'm sorry, I've got to interject real quick.
Yes.
So you mean he wasn't naturally born with a chainsaw for a stomach?
As cool as that would be, and you gotta admit, even though he was made back in 1960s, that's a 90s design.
That
Let's
kinda
give it
kinda
hooks
is.
for hands. I can just imagine a 13-year-old me in the 90s. In 90s, I guess it would be like 10 or something. You telling me, okay, I want you to come up with a cool monster. Okay, it gotta have hooks for hang, one bit red eye, a chainsaw for a belly, and it's gotta be a giant dinosaur robot.
Am I the only one who's not surprised by the chainsaw stomach because I've seen it before in something else?
Chainsaw
I
Man?
mean,
No, I've seen
Oh.
it in Bakugan.
Oh, okay.
okay, I'm not gonna lie. Like in all seriousness, this creature is, as far as appeals, I mean aesthetics. This one looks the closest to what I'd expect to see in a Power Rangers episode.
Well, funny you should say that, because remember how I told you that a lot of the Godzilla monsters are loaned out to what would be a knockoff Ultraman in Japan called Zone Fighter.
Yes.
Gigan was one of the big ones who constantly got loaned out to be a villain in that series.
So he was actually So he was actually in another series, not
He-
Power Rangers, obviously.
No, he was in Zone Fighter, which
Okay.
was basically like a knockoff brand of a single Power Ranger who is essentially also, can transform into a giant like Ultraman.
That works.
So if that wasn't silly enough, you still don't remember who the M Space Hunter Nebula aliens are.
I don't remember what I ate for breakfast 3 days ago. Why the hell would
They
I
weren't the
remember them?
gorilla aliens, were they?
Not yet. They're the space roaches.
Oh, those things.
Okay, so I knew it had to either be the gorilla ones or the
Yes,
space
the
roaches.
space roaches with nonsensical shadows.
So the space roaches made a giant cyborg dinosaur with hooks for hand, a chainsaw for a belly, and a metal beak mouth, and a cyclop eye.
As you do.
So, well, I just find it funny how a lot of people are complaining that the new American Godzilla is silly.
Wait, people are actually complaining about that?
People have been complaining that the legendary Godzilla have stupid storylines.
Really?
And the Japanese
The-
version never had stupid storylines.
Okay, wait a minute. So let me get this straight. The movie about a giant radioactive lizard and a giant monkey has dumb storylines?
Yes.
Really? That
I know. People are actually complaining about this. And, well, I decided since people are going to complain about it, I'm going to do them a favor, and I'm going to tell them a story about Godzilla vs. Gigan. Well, before that, let's get on to a little bit about Gigan, to get some stats about him. He's 65 meters tall, so a little bit taller than Godzilla. I think Godzilla stands shy at 50 meters. 25,000 metric tons.
nice.
Of course, you know, a chainsaw for a belly.
Again, yes.
Hooks for hang. I mean, one thing to note about him, and one thing that is interesting is Gigan is one of the few monsters that have a visual personality. He's, what's a good way to put it?
Cocky?
A bloodthirsty, ferocious cutthroat.
I mean, my thing's not exactly like on par.
He is also cocky.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. He is. You see the cockiness in another movie that is in the Showa era. Well, no, he's cocky in this one too. He's super cocky.
Well, I mean, he's built by cockroaches, so like
Cocky. I just got it. It took a while. I got it.
thank you.
It took a while. He is a string. Well, it's funny because there's 3 big monsters in the Showa era that have personalities. Surprisingly enough, Mechagodzilla is one of those monsters, but King Ghidorah is the other monster. And the people who I think the director and Toho said they see King Ghidorah as a dignified villain, which makes sense. He's a 3-headed dragon. Dragons are always regarded as dignified.
I'm not gonna lie, if a monster has 3 heads, at least one of them should have a personality.
Yes. And Mechagodzilla, we haven't got to him yet. His is pretty much a cold-hearted professional killer. Surprisingly enough. And we'll
I
get to...
was gonna say Mr. Spock, actually.
Actually, yeah. I mean, Mr. Spock could be a cold-hearted killer when he needs
Exactly. Like if you made a robot Mr. Spock, it would pretty much be the same, except he'd be shiny and metal.
But Gigan, he just liked to kill people and he liked to cause damage for the fun of it. I mean, does he need to use his chainsaw belly to cut a building open? No, can't. But does he want to? Yeah, he want to. Does he
Makes
need
sense.
to cause unnecessary pain to things before, rather than just outright killing them? He doesn't need to, but he wants to. And according to the suit actor, I'm gonna butcher his name, Kenpachiro Satsuma, he consciously tried to portray Gigan as enjoying the destruction he causes.
I mean, honestly, those people in those suits, I'm not sure how they're not always enjoying destruction. I mean, dressing up in a big monster and just destroying model cities, I think that'd be a blast.
Well, he got to have the most fun because he actively got to enjoy it. And he got to show it while on camera. One thing that I always noted, and I'm so glad that I saw others note it, Gigan is a bit of a coward as well. At least in the Showa era. because every one of his fights, he's always got an ally. In namely in this one, Godzilla vs. Gigan, his ally is gonna be King Ghidorah, and that's a pretty big ally.
That's true.
So, often in his movies, whenever he starts to lose or his allies start to lose, he's the first one to try to leave the fight, and he does that a lot. One other thing that I did find that I was happy to find was a cross section. This was taken from the Godzilla Monster Diagram Super Encyclopedia, Kodansha. If you've seen it, the image on the left hand side is the original image. The image on the right hand side is a translated version.
Yeah, figured that.
I know
Trying to figure out
Alchemist is
which
trying to
one's
take
more
it all in
ridiculous.
right now.
A little bit, yeah.
Questions.
Let's.
And for those who can't see it on Spotify, basically, Gigan, as I described, he has a horn on his head, which is apparently is a antenna to receive alien commands. That makes sense. He's getting controlled constantly by the space cockroaches. He has a high-power cannon capable of shattering rocks just above his one giant red eye. His infrared red eye, provide night vision. His beak-like mouth emit a 5,000 degree steel melting heat ray. I don't think we never do see that in any of the movies. I think we only see it in the games, a few of the games, and the comics possibly, or maybe we don't even see it that much in the comics. The hammer hands, which are his metal claws, massive claws constructed of cosmo steel, contain deadly venom. I didn't even know they were poisonous. And then we go to his inners, his rotary, which control his deadly universal cutter, aka his belly chainsaw.
All right.
And I do not like where they have to point for his energy sacs.
Those are intestines.
Yeah, but I don't like where it's pointing to.
I agree, but they're fucking intestines.
Yeah, no, they're intestine. No, well, they're energy sacs according to here's it.
They look like intestines.
They do look like intestines.
You know what? I don't want to think about what Japan thinks of intestines or energy sacs or sacs in general.
Oh, what other notes? He's also, well, we'll get to it. But we'll get rid of that. Now, to get to the main thing, some of his abilities. He's actually, he can fly through the air. He, of course, encased himself
completely
as
practical wings.
Oh yeah, well yeah. See, that's how he flies, just like that. He used anti-gravity flight.
So then the wings are really useless.
Everything else.
Yeah. Well, so when he's flying through space, the top image is a picture of a diamond. He's basically encasing himself in a diamond to fly around space at Mach 400. In the atmosphere, he only fly around Mach 3. Let's see, other things. His hooks, namely, biggest strength. What not to like. Every 13-year-old boy probably wanted hooks for hands at one time. I bet Captain Hook is looking at this and he's jealous. He would never lose Peter Pan if he had two hooks.
Somehow I don't think that works out the same way you think so.
I think it will. And of course it's Chainsaw Belly. Which, funny enough, I'm a little behind the scene. I like how they got his Chainsaw Belly to move. It's actually really clever. Any guesses?
Oh, you mean in reality?
Yeah.
Did they just move it back and forth real fast?
Up and down.
Yeah.
I really did like that. I'm like, that's a very cheap but easy effect to simulate a chainsaw going through the motion.
Yeah, no, because I did that kind of thing with some art class I did. I forget what it was for. It was not for a chainsaw, but it was about motion and how things look. And you kind of fool things moving circular by just moving it up and down. What
And
was I
it's
studying? Never mind.
well, either way, all of these appendages that are razor sharp, they actually can pierce at least Godzilla and Anguirus skins, which are thick as hides, considering the fact they can get hit by missiles.
Oh yeah, and Garrus was in this too, wasn't he?
Anguirus was in this. He actually did go toe to toe with Gigan and King Ghidorah. This would be his second movie where he third movie where he got to fight a monster. Had to
And
actually
not Godzilla this time.
not Godzilla. Yeah, not this time. Well, he only did that once. That's
Yeah.
all it took for him to learn his lesson. Other ability, Gigan do also have the ability to shoot a laser beam from his eyes. No photo available just because he never does that in the movie. I think the most we get in the movie is his eye flash at one time, but it doesn't indicate that a laser came out. He does it in the comics a lot, and he does it in one of the movies in a different time period, but not in the Showa era at the very least. So, other than that, I mean, what you see from him is what you get in terms of ability. He got claws for hang, he got a chainsaw belly. He's going to try to hook you with the hangs and pull you into the chainsaw belly, cut you up. Or he's going to fly around and take swipes at you with his chainsaw belly.
So he's a cockroach version of a hooker.
I'm trying to think, is there any can I disagree with that argument? I'm legit trying to think, can I disagree with that argument? He is made by cockroaches, and he does have hooks for hangs, and he does fly by.
He's full of energy sacks at certain areas.
But he doesn't take your money. That's the only thing that doesn't make him a hooker.
Fair enough.
He'll destroy your home, though, which some hookers do, so... I like that we're now trying to figure out, is Gigan a space hooker?
And probably leave you with some horrible internalized problems.
Well, he does have venom hooks, so yeah, actually, yes, maybe, so... Oh, we need to get off of this subject. Oh, let's get on to his actual movie, namely Godzilla vs. Gigan. I got the date wrong. I think I said 1967. It's 1972 when this movie came out. Now, this is where I want to talk about, for everyone talking about how America have the market when it comes to stupid plots with Godzilla movies. Oh boy. The Japanese like, hold my sake. You do not even... This is when Godzilla plot lines really start just getting all over the place in the Showa era. And this is from someone who loves Showa era movies. But even I gotta acknowledge, yeah, they get pretty wacky. So,
Right.
If you remember, the M Space Hunter Nebula alien, aka Space Roaches, they had a plan that they were going to go undercover as two people who died about 20 years ago, and they were going to take over the world by building a theme park.
Yeah.
And then they were going to house their control center in the giant Godzilla building that was in the center of the theme park. And from that control building, they were going to control King Ghidorah and Gigan, namely using these audio tapes that just happened to get stolen by hippies. And the hippies saves the day when they come up with a plan to trick the aliens, in the space cockroach again, into shooting at pictures of them in an elevator that is full of TNT, which just happened to blow up.
You're kidding. TNT blew up? When does that happen?
I'm just thinking they saw that picture and they shot first.
I'm more wondering how hippies got a hold of TNT.
And it just... just saying that out loud. So the Space Roaches made a theme park with giant monsters to use audio tapes to control the monsters that was secretly defeated by hippies drawing a picture that the aliens shot at.
It's honestly, it sounds like a South Park episode.
I sound like I'm insane. Crazier than crazy.
Thank you, Charlotte A.
Yeah,
Like you are genuinely missing Cartman saying "goddamn hippies."
Dang hippies. Yeah, that should have been the next one. I should have got that one as well.
Goddamn hippies.
Oh, we're gonna get a lot of mileage out of that image too. I can guarantee that. Whenever I go off on one of my tangent, that image's gotta be present.
By the way, to all those South Park fans out there, yes, Cartman is normally a horrible, horrible human being, but on this he's correct. Goddamn hippies.
Oh, it just dumbfound me. They really do hate onto Legendary for the bad
Way
plot
too
lines.
much. And it's just Legendary is seeking to be fun. It's a movie. You're supposed to be entertained.
Well, what got me is Legendary often said that the directors of the Legendary film have said they look to the Showa era of Godzilla for their inspiration. Showa era is this batshit insane. It dumbfounded me. People are like, America don't know how to do good Godzilla movie. Japanese know how to do good Godzilla movie. I'm like, the Japanese, the one that made it about space cockroaches and chicken-like cyborg dinosaurs with hooks for hands and chainsaw for bellies.
Defeated by hippies.
Defeated by hippies with a drawing. I mean, just describing the plotline of Godzilla vs. Gigan, I feel like a madman.
Man, let's also acknowledge this isn't their most ridiculous plot.
No, it's not. This is up there, though.
It's up there, but it's not their most ridiculous. I mean,
that'll be the next movie. That'll be the next one.
There's a lot of them. I mean, let's also not forget the one with the plant.
Oh, and we haven't got to that yet. That'll be doing
I'm not spoiling anything, but let's be honest. You know the one I'm talking about. That one was weird. Like I started saying a bunch of random ass shit, and it kept popping up in the movie.
I remember when I kept just mentioning random thing, and you kept saying that's an actual plot line.
I made up 2 random things that I thought couldn't possibly be in the movie, and they were in the next scene.
Oh, people like to really, and the killing part is the movie you're referring to is in the Heisei era, and most fans regard the Heisei era as the most serious, down-to-earth era in the Godzilla franchise.
Yeah, we already did an episode where we talked about a giant sludge monster that was somehow killed by tasers.
Yes.
That Godzilla supercharged with his radiation breath.
And then he flew with his atomic breath.
And then he flew with his atomic breath. We haven't even gotten to the drop kick yet.
No, the dropkick is in the next movie.
Oh, is that next?
That's the next movie.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, no, the next movie, like I said, is the one that goes off the rail. But back to Godzilla and Gigan. What happened is, after the building blew up, the fight wasn't going so well for Godzilla. With the building in operation, they was controlling Gigan and King Ghidorah, making them work together more effectively than Godzilla and Anguirus could. Gigan did a very good job at busting up Godzilla's skull and causing him to bleed. I think this would be his second time bleeding. The first one would be with the sludge monster Hedorah, and then the second time would be with Gigan. So Gigan's one of the few villains to make Godzilla bleed. And to your effect argument, yes, he is very cocky. He's the only monster I know of that high-fived. The only villain I know of that high-fived whenever they won.
Yeah, seems like it.
But of course the hippies did blow up the tower. The tower, which also I forgot to add, shot a laser beam out. Because that was a thing. This movie sounds so weird when you say it out loud.
A little bit.
Like the space cockroach who built a laser into the giant Godzilla building that was blown up by hippies.
I discontest anything where the hippies aren't the villains.
This is one of the few, and I'm calling them hippies. I don't even know if they was hippies. I call them hippies just because the first time I saw them, they were wearing colorful outfits, and they was running from essentially the main or a corporation that was an evil corporation controlled by these space roaches.
Yeah.
So they look like hippies. I remember always thinking, "Oh, those hippies? Is that what Japanese hippies look like?"
I mean, to be fair, Japan's a bit stricter in America, so if they tried to put American hippies in Japan, they'd probably be executed.
Maybe.
Huh.
Oh, jeez, before we go down a horrible pathway. Once the
We
tower.
should send our hippies to Japan.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I went there.
Once the tower was blown up, Gigan and King Ghidorah couldn't work together as effectively anymore, which allowed Godzilla and Anguirus to get the upper hand on them. Needless to say, Godzilla did not take his beating from Gigan very well, and Gigan did not have a good day afterward.
Makes sense.
Yes, he got the absolute top being out by Godzilla afterward. And of course the day is saved, and Anguirus and Godzilla go back to Monster Island. Gigan and King Ghidorah quickly flee the battlefield. Other notable entries, Zed, you'll like this. Gigan's one of the few monsters to fight the Power Rangers.
Of course he is.
This was in the Godzilla vs. Mighty Morphin Power Ranger crossover comic.
God, the Megazord looks weird at that angle.
Yeah, it did. This was like one of the few where I found where it was just Gigan going up against the Megazord. Now, the Megazord didn't have the best fight against Gigan. Granted, it just got done fighting with Godzilla previously. So it was kind of powered down because of that. And Rhea Raposa decided to even up the odds by summoning two of her monsters. For those who remember, the Eyeball Monster and the Rhino Monster. For those who remember the old OG Power Rangers. And they were helping Gigan. But the fight did not go their way once Godzilla showed up to help the Megazord defeat Gigan and the two other monsters summoned by Rita. But it was interesting. You don't get to see. I thought this would be the one. Most of Gigan's comic book appearance, he's in his second version. Since he is a cyborg, he does get upgraded. He does not get upgraded in the Showa era, which is why I'm not talking about his upgraded form. He does get upgraded in what would be called, I'll call the Final Wars era, which is one of the final movies Toho did before they took a hiatus. We'll get to that later on, as we will get to his second form. Now, he does show up in another movie, but since the other monster of the week shows up in that movie, I figure it would be best just to save it for next time. So
Sounds good.
You will save Gigan next appearance for the next episode, where we'll reveal the final two of the final monsters before we get. Yeah, we'll only have 4 more monsters after this. We'll have the 2 more next episode, and then 2 more in the episode after that, and then one final episode going over Godzilla. But some final little notes. Gigan is the first cyborg monster in the Godzilla series.
Oh damn, he beat Mechagodzilla.
Mechagodzilla will be one of the last one. Because remember, it would be Gigan would be the first one, since he showed up in Showa era. King Ghidorah, or I should say Mecha King Ghidorah, would be the second one in the Heisei.
Wait, that came before Godzilla? Before Mechagodzilla?
I'm trying to remember because I think Mecha King Ghidorah came out before Kiyu, which is the Mecha Godzilla where they use the bones of Godzilla.
Yeah, but like didn't didn't the original Mechagodzilla come out before
Yeah, but it wasn't
Mecha?
a cyborg. It was just a robot.
Oh, got it. Sorry. Cyborg robot definitions. Right. Never mind.
Now, to give you half credit, it was the second variant of Mechagodzilla was controlled by a human cyborg. Was he a cyborg? Yeah, I think he was a cyborg. We'll get to that when we get to Mechagodzilla.
Yeah. Again, you're right. They talk about Americans making Godzilla silly.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
listen to us.
Yeah, well, listen to us. Let's see. Oh, Gigan is also tied for being the fastest Showa era monster. The only other one that would be as fast as him would be King Ghidorah. And that's primarily because they both in space can fly at Mach 400.
And King Ghidorah's wings are a little bit more practical.
Yeah, well, remember in space, Gigan encased himself in a diamond and King Ghidorah encased himself in a meteorite to fly through space.
But again, the American versions are the ridiculous.
Yeah,
ones.
yes, as I say this. Other thing to note, Archimage, I know you were really trying to figure out King Ghidorah. I mean, not King Ghidorah. Gigan's role, is a modified version of another monster's role. Any guesses? I'll
Is
give
it
you a
another
hint.
Godzilla monster? Or?
Is another Godzilla monster that also, it doesn't have hooks for hands, but it doesn't have hands. It has something else in place of hands.
It's not that beetle thing, is it?
It's a monster we've already saw. So I'll give you a hint. It had claws for hands.
The Adora thing.
The crawfish.
Yeah,
Yep.
the crawfish.
Yep.
What's it called?
Ebera.
Ebera, that's it.
Gigan Row is a sped up version of Ebera's Row.
I can believe that.
They recycle a lot in Godzilla franchises.
Yeah, I imagine they do. I mean, they recycled that poor Godzilla suit, what, like 5 or 6 times?
Too many times. Where it
Right,
was
like-
falling apart in some of these movies.
Like, it became actually noticeable that it was falling apart.
Last little thing about Gigan. I think, have you both seen Pacific Rim?
I saw Pacific Rim, yes.
Probably
I-
haven't seen the sequel then, the Uprising, Pacific Rim Uprising.
Nah, I didn't care.
Zed? No, I'm gonna take that as no.
No, I said no.
Oh no? Well, Gigan actually made an appearance in that movie.
The sequel?
Uprising, yes.
Huh. Oh, shit.
Here's something else. About half the monsters on that screen are from other kaiju films. So
Ha.
some of these monsters, if you look to the second row, Zora, that's from Gamera. The guy with the the monster with the pointy, the shark monsters that could fly.
Oh, yeah. I remember those things.
Some of the other monsters are from the Ultraman series.
I never saw
think-
Ultraman. I've heard some fun things, though.
Oh my goodness, how did I miss that? If you go 2 rows, if you look, for those on YouTube at the very least, if you go to the 4th row from the top, or the 3rd row from the bottom, to the last one on the right, we'll see a familiar face, Baragon.
Ha.
So I didn't even realize Baragon had an appearance in this. But yeah, that was Pacific Rim did a little homage to Godzilla. Yeah, with 2 monsters. I didn't even realize that. But other than that, that's pretty much it for Gigan. He's a very the way I always thought of him, he's the Carnage of the Godzilla franchise. Dangerous if you take him for granted, but also a psychopath, I should say.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But Gigan, get out of there. We don't need you anymore. Other than that, any other final thoughts before we close out, Fool?
Final thoughts. Well, I will say it's probably unfair to compare Gigan to a hooker. I mean, with a chainsaw belly, it would make his job very difficult.
I don't know. Very easy. You get. You know what? I'm not gonna say. We're gonna. This is how we. This is why I always gotta put 18 plus on all of our Spotify and YouTube things now.
I regret nothing.
Zed, any closing comment before we end off?
There is not enough alcohol in the world to deal with you two clowns. I swear to God.
There we go. Perfect way in. So we'll see y'all episode 11 with the next two monsters.
Later.
See ya.